Bonjour, people of YouTube. Today, I present to you another topic that has been circulating in my mind. The topic I will be discussing today is the signs of a toxic relationship, aka, what are the signs of a toxic male? One of the signs that you must look out for is, do you notice? Do they need to have a sense of superiority? Do they need to have a sense of control over everything, over their environments at all times, over you? Do you notice there needs to be an absolute sense of control? Do you notice they need an absolute sense of control of the narrative of everything around them? The narrative of how they are perceived by other people, and also the narrative of how people view your relationship together. Do you notice they always like to have control of that narrative? Another sign to look out for. Do you notice they have an inflated sense of ego? Having an inflated sense of ego can be detrimental to an emotionally healthy relationship that is supposed to be emotionally safe, not only for your mental well-being, your emotional, your physical well-being. You're supposed to want to feel safe and free to express your feelings around that person. Is it safe to be vulnerable around that person? Or do you find yourself walking on eggshells at all times? Or whatever time that may be. Do you find yourself holding your tongue on certain subjects? Let's say you like to bring up a particular touchy subject that you know they may not like, or they have expressed disdain on that particular subject in the past. What is their reaction when you bring up that topic? Do they grow quiet, silent? The silent treatment, do they get mad, upset? Do they grow angry? Do they go into a fit of rage? Do they get agitated? Do they get fidgety? All of those are physical signs to look out for. Even more so if they begin to immediately get defensive, that is a telltale sign something is always wrong. Because a defensive stance is always a guilty one. Another sign that you may be experiencing a toxic relationship. Do they not want you to be around certain people? Certain people may be of the opposite gender that they are. Do they express extreme jealousy or possessiveness when you are around the opposite sex? Or do they express extreme anger when you mention a name? That can be very upsetting to witness. And going back to walking on eggshells, you would have to be very careful and not to upset that person by bringing up that subject of the matter to them. Maybe you would find it in yourself that you would never bring that up to that person again. Maybe you grow defeated and be like, blah, this is useless. I will just shut my mouth and not mention that to them again. Because what is the point? Another reason or another sign you could be experiencing a toxic relationship or an abusive partner. How do they act around other people? What persona do they use around other people? Do they act completely different around other people than when you guys are at home? This can be very confusing to see and witness. Do you notice they change suddenly or drastically whenever you are out in public with them? That can be very scary to witness. It's like mask on, mask off very quickly, and they can even turn on you. And no matter how much you try and confront them about it, they will deny and gaslight the heck out of you. Pretty upsetting, right? How do they act around other people? Do they act charismatic, overly charismatic to other people? Are they extra talkative around other people? Well, they can very well be putting on a front to mask so other people would not be able to recognize that they are actually a toxic person to you. So if you were to tell other people what's happening in your relationship, it will be harder for the other people to recognize that because your person could be putting on a perfect act right in front of them. That is what I like to call triangulation. Do you notice your partner comparing you to other people, particularly the opposite sex? Let's say if your guy is always comparing you to another woman, that can also be very upsetting. It can be a blow to your self esteem, for sure. Is there a particular name he uses? It could be one person or multiple people that he could mention because he know that it upsets you. So that's why he brings them up. Do you notice he does those things? That, ladies and gents, is a toxic individual. Now let's get into NPD, which is commonly known as narcissism. Does your partner exhibit narcissistic traits? Like we said before in the beginning of the video, an inflated sense of ego, a high sense of superiority. They feel that they are above everything and everyone else. They expect princess treatment or prince treatment or king treatment or just a higher sense of treatment. They look down upon others. Do you notice that? Do you notice they are arrogant? Do you notice other people notice that they are arrogant? That is what we like to call NPD. Another thing I would like to add that also falls in with NPD is also a disorder called arrested development disorder. That means when an individual has experienced a traumatic event in their childhood that stops them from mentally maturing past that point. So they are forever stuck in that time period, in that mentality, in that mindset at that age, whatever age. Do you notice your partner exhibits childish traits and qualities? Even if they are far more older than that age, they could act like a 12-year-old and be well over 60. Do you notice that? That is like being a certain age. Mentally, it can be a good or bad thing. But in the case of arrested development disorder, this is not a good thing. This can be very difficult for the person suffering from that disorder because they are not able to grow past a certain point. They're literally stuck in a certain frame. From the time of the abuse, the time of the traumatic event happened, they are stuck and they were not able to develop mentally past that point. Whereas they gravitate towards younger people, and it can be extremely inappropriate for a person's age to hang out with people who are literally half their age. However, if a person is in their 20s, it is not that extreme. However, if they are past their 20s, then it can become concerning. So we've talked about NPD, development, arrested development disorder. We've talked about signs and traits of a toxic relationship or partner. Now, what could we do with this information? How can we prevent that from happening? Well, discuss it with your partner. Say, hey, I've noticed you have all of these signs and traits that I've noticed in you, and I want to help. Or, hey, I don't like how you're treating me, and I feel I deserve much better than this. I want to end things and break up because I feel as though you are not the right person for me. You can communicate those things with your partner and safely exit that relationship. Or if you have it in your heart to work things out with them and guide them every step of the way, then go ahead. You are full of love, you are full of light, and you are an angel in disguise. So, whatever advice you take, I hope you are divinely guided in whatever choice you may make. Thank y'all for this video, and stay tuned for my upcoming videos. Merci.